Hello and welcome to this Megaport Live tech drop-in session. Today we are going to talk about new features available on the Megaport Cloud Router. We've introduced IPsec tunnel capability on the MCR, so we'll go through that shortly. My name is Paul McGuinness. I lead up the solution architect team here in Europe. I'm based out of the London office, and our team are always available to help with your queries, your solution designs, and any other questions that you might have. Okay, so let's dive into it. We won't spend too much time on the initial slides, but just obviously to point out that Megaport is network as a service. The design and the configuration of the network elements is up to you. You manage that through a portal, through APIs, through Terraform. It's fully automated if you want to do an automation integration into some of your own platforms. And you don't actually have to talk to sales. You can build what you need when you want it, and you can have immediate services like the Megaport Cloud Router and other elements as well. The network offers you private connectivity over Megaport's backbone. There are resilience options for pretty much all the solutions that we have. And we have a huge amount of customers, almost 3,000 different customers from all sorts of background, including finance, media, manufacturing, etc., different verticals there. We connect to all the major cloud providers, and we do so from lots of different data center operators. So we're in over 100 different DCOs around the world so that you can connect from the locations that you're in and meet Megaport. And then once you're onto the Megaport network, we can connect you anywhere in the world to any of the cloud provider on-ramps that we have, and also to any service provider that we have on the marketplace. So we have a lot of other service providers, including Wasabi and Cloudflare, available on our Megaport marketplace. So you can kind of create your own ecosystem by connecting into those service providers, and also you can connect privately to third parties who are on the Megaport network as well with a service key. Check out the other video that I did recently on service keys. And then we also support edge providers on our Megaport Virtual Edge platform, and that allows you to take the firewall software, the virtual routing software, or the SD-WAN solution of your choice and deploy that on Megaport's Virtual Edge. So that could be firewall from Fortinet Palo Alto, virtual routing from Cisco or Sixwind, and it could be SD-WAN solutions from many different vendors, including VeloCloud, Versa, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Prisma, etc. And then from a high level, what does that mean? What kind of solutions can you have? Well, it's very popular, the cloud solutions having private connectivity at high data rates into the cloud providers. So connectivity from your data center into cloud. So any of our 1,000 data centers that we have access to globally, into any of the cloud on-ramps that spread out around the world. The cloud on-ramps are already in place, so you don't have to do anything on that side. You're just consuming that service from us. We already have the NNIs and the automation to the CSPs. We can do cloud to cloud likewise. We can do layer 3 routing or firewalling in between those clouds if you want to have a control point for that connectivity. And cloud to cloud is immediate, so you can just spin that up and start connecting things together. DCI is also an option. So DCI is connecting one data center to another anywhere globally with speeds up to 100 gigabits per second. And all you have to do in that case, you do have to wait for a cross connect from the data center provider on each end, but the provisioning of the service on Megaport is immediate. And then the virtual edge that I mentioned already, this is where you've got your virtual firewall, virtual router, or SD-WAN hub type solutions. Bring your own license for that. And then we also do have Megaport Internet that's not shown here. So you can have Megaport Internet from our ports, from our Megaport Cloud Routers, and our virtual edges. And then finally on the slide, we own and operate internet exchanges around the globe, and we also connect to third-party internet exchanges so that you can connect into Lynx and AMSIX, for example. But today we're going to talk about the Megaport Cloud Router. This virtual device is a virtual router. It's pre-licensed by Megaport so that you don't have to worry about buying a license or taking a license to it. So it's ready to go once you spin that device up. And it's got lots of features. It's got all of the features that you need to connect between data centers, to connect hybrid cloud or hybrid multi-cloud, cloud to cloud. It has everything that you need to do that functionality, and it's in a straightforward way. So we know many of our customers are coming from the cloud environments. They're used to working through GUIs or working through APIs to control their services in the cloud. And the MCR is really no different. It's giving you the functionality that you need. It's straightforward to use. You don't have to be a networking expert to use it. If you are, you can go into some of the more advanced services on the MCR as well and use more and more features. The MCR starts at 1 gigabit per second throughput. And then we've got various different sizes from 2.5 gig, 5 gig, 10 gig, 40 gig, and also now 100 gig throughput device. So you can get very high throughput between your DCs and, hybrid cloud, hybrid multi-cloud. It has lots of the layer 3 and BGP functionality that you need. It's got ASPath prepend, it's med values, BFD, everything that you need to connect into the various cloud providers. We also have route filtering, access control lists, so you can do packet filtering on the device as well now with the internet connectivity and IPsec offering as well. And we also have NATing on this device also. And we'll look at the IPsec in more detail as we go forward now. So some use cases for IPsec on the MCR include having a VPN concentrator, starting at let's say the small end where you've got a small number of select sites and you need to connect those into a concentration device to take that onwards to, let's say, cloud or somewhere else globally, to another DC, for example. We can do encryption from the Megaport Cloud router into the cloud service providers, terminating in those gateways inside the CSPs themselves. And I'll show you a design example just after this slide. And we can also do fully encrypted cloud-to-cloud data, and then also hybrid multi-cloud solutions as well. And it could be used for, let's say, merging different SD-WAN technologies or different solutions that you might have been forced into due to acquisitions and mergers. So this can be a point to normalize, if you had let's say, a SD-WAN solution from Aruba and then another one from Cisco Viptela, you could use this as a point to bring that traffic together. So what does this look like? So if we look at this diagram, just to clearly say what it is here, we've got at the top, we've got an Azure Express route, so private interconnect into an Express route gateway and a VPN gateway inside Azure. And then at the bottom, we've got an AWS hosted connection there as well. The MCR is here in the middle, and the MCR has a Megaport internet connection that we've had for some time, but now we've added IPsec capability to that so that you can have encrypted, for example, across the internet from a branch into the MCR and then reach. We're showing cloud here in this example, but you could reach anything on the Megaport network. Another example, again, it's MCR in the middle here. We've got two MCRs, one in a red diversity zone, one in a blue diversity zone. And on the right-hand side, we've got a primary and secondary Azure Express route. We've got two hosted connections on the left-hand side, one into diversity zone red and one into diversity zone blue. And the gateways from the clouds on both sides. So with this new functionality, we can do IPsec tunnels from, in this example, from the VPN gateway on Azure side across to the transit gateway on the AWS side. So we can be that point in the middle. And if I just flick to the next slide, it's really similar to this, but in a slightly different diagram view. Again, AWS on the left, Azure on the right, and we've added in a data center example. So because the MCR is terminating the IPsec tunnels here on the MCR, you can go encrypted or unencrypted back to the DC. Obviously, if you're interested in encryption, you would re-encrypt here and then have an endpoint inside your data center that you can terminate the tunnel on at that point. And this would, not shown here, but this would travel through a Megaport port before reaching your equipment in the data center. Okay, so that is all of the slides. Let me just flick across to the Megaport portal and I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. I've got some examples here built and we'll come back to that. But let's just look at spinning up a brand new MCR. Let's go to Frankfurt. We'll choose this location. And here we can see we can have data rates up to, 100 gig. Let's do a 25 gig throughput device. And we'll give it a name. There's a reference here. This reference can be anything that you want. That'll feed through into the invoice. And here's where the option is to add IPsec to your MCR. Now you can do it when you're spinning up the MCR, but you can also do this later. And by adding this option, it gives you 10 IPsec tunnels, which are assigned to this MCR only. So if you have another MCR and you need IPsec, you would bring up another pack of 10 on that MCR as well. And you can add multiple packs of 10 to your device should you have a solution that requires that. Okay, then we've got the term options, automatically renewing here. We've got our ASN that you can override on day one. And then we've got the BGP default state, whether you want it to be up or down. But that's all you have to do to create that MCR. Okay, so it's over here in our shopping cart. We can then just review that order and I can go ahead and just spin that up. So this goes off now to deployment. It's going to create that MCR, 25 gig MCR in Digital Realty and Digital Realty Interaction in FRA 13 in Frankfurt. I'm filtering out other people's services because this is a shared portal. So it's now appearing as it's being deployed. While it's being deployed, we can go ahead and start creating connections. So if I click on plus connection, we can see that we can add cloud connections, we can add Megaport Internet, we can connect to any of our partners inside the marketplace, or we can connect to a third party who's on the Megaport network with a secure service key. But I'm just going to give you, walk you through the steps here before showing you the example that I built. So if we select private VXC, and if I just put in my name and just pull up one of these other devices that I have available, we can give this a name. We can choose a data rate. So let's say 1000 for a 1 gig connection. And here's where the action is really happening. So at the top, we can see we've got the Frankfurt device on the left, so the A end, and then the B end, we've got the a device in Telehouse London that's a 10 gig device. Okay, so here we can add an interface. So we put in an interface description. We can then put in an interface IP address and subnet mask. And we have full options here to NAT this, to adapt the MTU, to add BGP. But what we're interested here today is to add an IPsec tunnel. So if we click on add IPsec tunnel, we can add many, and additional tabs will appear here up to the amount that you have available in your pack. You can see that it's telling us that it's incomplete because we haven't done the configuration for this. So this is give it a description at the top. We'll then choose that source IP address that we provisioned on the interface already. And we will give it a BEnd destination IP address as well. Okay, we'll give it a pre-shared key. And we then have an option here for active or passive start action. So if it's passive, it's indicating that the local MCR is an IPsec responder and it's waiting for the remote to perform IK2 initiation. So active would be where it is basically initiating the IK2. For Phase one lifetime, the defaults are in here. We've got 28800 seconds. That equates to 8 hours for phase one. For phase two, we have that in as 3600. That's 1 hour's worth of lifetime before the rekeying happens. Phase two has to be less than phase one, but we do support different values there. It shows you at the bottom what you're allowed to put in. Then we can add some interface IP addresses here as well, so that you can add those. You can also play with the turning on NAT. You can set the maximum MTU as well for the device. Uh, The for IPv4, because of the overhead for IPsec, there's 96 bytes less on that. So we just set the defaults that will come in there. So you'll get 1404 as the IP NTU for IPv4, and then there'll be less taking away 116 bytes for an IPv6 connection. We also allow you to have packet filters as well, pair IPsec tunnel connections, so that you can add those packet filters to the service. You can add BGP to that as well, and you've got static route options. So that's available on each one of those. And we're going to allow the moving of IPsec tunnels between devices as well. So that can be added at a later point as well. So let me just add a mask to that there, and we can see the configuration was prompting me at the top because I didn't complete one of the items. Basically, it's when we click next, it takes us over to the B end of the connection. We can go through the same configuration, put in the reciprocal items for that, and then you would basically get a summary for that connection. So you get a summary, and then you could order and add that virtual cross connect over here into the shopping cart. Okay, so let's go and look at the example that I've already built. So what I'm going to do is that, that device is up and ready in Frankfurt, the 25 gig one that we provisioned, but I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to terminate that service. And here we're left with a configuration that I've created before. We've got an MCR in Dublin. We have an MCR in Telehouse North in London. So if I go in to the virtual cross connect here, we've got obviously a pack of 10 IPsec tunnels on both of those MCRs. If we look through the configuration here and I click next, we've got an interface specified on the A end. And then if we go into the IPsec tunnel, we can also see the configuration that we have here. And we have a BGP connection set up over that as well. I haven't enabled BFD on this one, but you could do that. There's the packet filtering options, static route options are also there as well. And you can see the MTU set to 1404. If I click next and go into the B end, we just get the reciprocal of that. We get the interface and the IPsec interface here as well with BGP on that side also. So we can also see that the BGP is up and active on that. We are adding additional features to the MCR. So we're going to provide more encryption methods, integrity methods, and key exchange as we go forward. We've documented in docs.megaport.com what those are today. We're also adding more visibility around what you're able to see and the status of each individual IPsec tunnel and where they are. But today in the looking glass, it gives you a view of what's connected on the other side. We can see the BGP sessions that are up. It actually shows me that that's an IPsec interface over here as well when you click on the more info. So it gives you a nice view of what that looks like today. So that is a brief rundown of IPsec on the MCR. Please reach out if you have any questions. Like I said, we'll be adding new features to this in the next couple of weeks and months. And as those appear, I'm sure we'll do an update session for the live tech drop-in as well. But with that, I'll leave you back to your day. Thank you for joining. I'd just like to point out the 1000.megaport.com and like to hear about your high scores if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Paul McGuinness, and happy gaming.